right, and welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and thank you always for joining me on the podcast. Happy New Year, everyone. Oh man, 2022. Who knew we would finally get to 2022? Sometimes I know it seemed like we were far from it, but here we are in the new year. And this is a little bit different of a energy update. Because here's the thing. So I tuned into Spirit to say, hey, what do we have in store for the energy update? Thinking it would be the more traditional sense. But what they ended up doing is talking to me about the real value and importance right now of what we do. So instead of, and they will continue to give us energy updates, don't get me wrong. But what they really wanted to do was start off this year with really reinforcing the idea of what do we choose? Because 2022, as I've kind of talked about the last little bit, is all about embodiment. This is a year of embodiment, of you being your true self, you stepping into and holding the energy of who you are, why you are who you are, how you're growing to become even more of who you are. It's all about you. It's about embodiment. It's about being these pillars on this planet right now. And these pillars that they show me were like these temples. Instead of building temples, it's about being the temple, and we are the embodiment. We've built a lot of foundations. Now we get to be these pillars of embodiment of who we are. And when we do that, we ripple out energy into the rest of the collective and the cosmos of higher frequency. And that's so important. And so the things they wanted to talk about within that embodiment that pertains to this energy update, but energy of self, is about rising above, listening to your own inner guidance, having the freedom of soul expression, and hope. And that's why I'm saying that this was just a little bit different, because right now for this month, they're saying it doesn't matter what's going on outside. Set the stage right now, this first month of this brand new year of 2022, which is a 222 year. This is powerful. Really consider where you are at. All of the cleaning out that we've been doing in 2021, and then the repeated emphasis of like, know yourself, find your inner guidance, find your alignment, all of that discovery that we did towards the end of 2021 now is so that we can rise above, listen to our inner guidance, express from our souls, and trust in this energy of hope and faith. So if we go to their first point, which was rise above. So they're saying with the changing tides happening on the planet right now in humanity, everything that's going on, they're saying when you can, rise above from the current situation, whatever situation you're in, whether it's a very personal one to you, or it's kind of a humanity's collective situation, whatever you want to see it as, maybe even if it's COVID, rise above it. When you rise above and you're not caught up in the muck of it, you can start to gain clarity on this situation. You can start to see it from a higher perspective. And when we do that, we can see that there are changes happening in the energies. Again, whether it's collective situation or personal situation, there are changes being put in place, almost like these little knobs they're showing me that you can then switch and click on. You are the captain in this in terms of how you perceive it to affect you. And so when we rise above, we can gain that higher up perspective. I've talked about it many times. It's like, if we take a soccer game, for example, if you're busy playing in the soccer game, you are actually limited in what you can see going on. You don't get the whole picture. You have the picture that is in front of you, but you don't know what's happening behind you. But when you're the one in the stands, when you're sitting higher up in the stands, watching what's happening, you get that whole perspective of what's happening in the whole game. So although maybe you see these two guys kind of starting to gang up on one guy with the ball, you can see that behind them, a whole bunch of the different players are setting up for a specific play. That's really going to be this blessing in disguise, like we talked about last week. So consider where you're viewing things from and rise up higher. Almost even visualize pulling yourself up higher out of that situation to see when you expand your views, there's something different you can notice. There's something different. Because as you start to put these things in practice, these concepts that they're talking about with the energy, if you take it right now, beginning of January 2022, if you take these principles into your core way of dealing with stuff, You're going to radically shift the way you experience 2022. It'll be one of more power. So that's about rising above. Their next point was about inner guidance, about really it being time for you to pay attention and listen to the guidance of your soul. Turn inwards. There's a lot of shifty stuff and has been outward, outside of you. And there are so many different perspectives and opinions of what is right and what is wrong, what you should and shouldn't do, who you should and shouldn't be, what you should stand for, what you shouldn't. There's so many things coming at you, but what matters is, what do you think? What is your inner guidance telling you? Because as something as simple, and I really am going to compare it to this, something as simple as a blanket statement saying everybody should does not apply. Here's an example they're giving me right now. Some people might say drinking milk is the best way to get calcium. You need calcium in your body, drink milk. That's the best way. But that milk for one person, which can be very, very nourishing, for another person, if they have a milk intolerance, a lactose intolerance or milk allergy, that milk is going to be so not good. So you can't say that that blanket statement applies to everything for every person. You have to listen to self, so that if you're someone who has an allergy to milk and you know that, and someone's like, here, drink this milk, you can say, you know what, that doesn't work for me, but what I am going to do is I'm going to have this oat milk because oat works for me, right? And I'm really simplifying it, comparing it to milks, but with reason, is when you can tune into what aligns for you, that's when you're honoring your path. Because again, if we go back to this, if you're that person who's like, okay, I should be drinking this milk because I'm told it's the best way, but it's making you sick and making you sick and making you sick and making you sick, you're creating inflammation in your body, which is going to create more illness. So by you trying to do something that isn't in alignment with you, you're going to fall out of balance. That does not work for you. And again, that's a very simple explanation for choices. It can be choices in many things, right? How you spend your day, for example. Say you are with people that want to go out and want to be mingling around and partying and all this kind of stuff, but that's not your vibe. Your vibe is actually spending time in nature. It doesn't mean one is better than the other or one is right and wrong. It's not. It's totally based on what flows with your energy. So for the person that really needs this peace and quiet time that they find so nourishing about nature, if they're forcing themselves to continually be out in these crowds, in party situations, they're going to totally override their nervous system. That's not going to benefit them. Not at all. That's going to be way more stress. Just as the person who loves that kind of ambiance, if they spend too much time in nature and solitude, that quiet time will drive them nutty. So that's not going to benefit them, both being very good options, neither being wrong. So consider that. Follow your inner guidance. Have a willingness to step back and see what is aligned for you. What choices are you making in your environment, with yourself, with your mind, with your energy? How are you choosing to be? And listen to what works for you, because it's telling you that for a reason. Your journey is so incredibly important because it's yours and it's helping your soul evolve and grow. And when you connect that evolution and growth to alignment, it is powerful. And the amount of things that you can accomplish is unparalleled. It's quite beautiful. So something to consider is listening to your inner guidance. And again, if I come back to that first point of rising above, with whatever is happening, rise above it. Take in the entire situation, observe it, and then come back to that centered place in self, that heart space, and see what is really going on. What is that doing for you? Okay. And then the next thing they said about, this month and this year is this freedom of soul expression. So they're saying, where are you potentially holding back from expressing yourself out of fear of losing or upsetting those around you? And again, maybe if I come back to milk, okay, maybe your mom keeps making you these beautiful muffins and you don't want to upset her and she wants to watch you eat them, but you're like, this makes me feel so sick, but I'll do it anyway. Instead of expressing your thoughts and your opinions and saying, Mom, thank you so much for making these, but you know what I've discovered about myself is I can't have dairy. I'm so sorry, but Maybe can we make a batch together, but let's try oat milk, right? Again, simplified example, but this can apply in a lot of ways. Just as, say, this party atmosphere versus nature atmosphere. If you're someone who likes that party scene and you love to, blend energies with people and mix and mingle, and someone's like, let's go spend a week in the forest with nothing. And you're like, okay, if you know that it's going to break you, then maybe you can express and say, you know what, I can't do it that whole time. Honestly, I can't sit still that long. So what if I join you for 2 days? Can I try it out for 2 days? And then I'll leave you there. And then when you come back, we can go for coffee and talk about it. Be willing to express what you need. We can express our needs and our soul's desires with compassion and kindness. Therefore, we don't have to hurt people's feelings in expressing something that is different from theirs. Because here's the other thing about this embodiment of 2022. Embodiment is embodying for you. It means expressing for you and resonating with things that are for you, but it doesn't mean we have to put down the way things are resonating or expressing for somebody else. We can hold space for it. We can agree to disagree. We can embrace somebody else's truth as their truth, but also say, I recognize that and I appreciate it and I get why you're saying it. But for me, I align with this. So I'm going to support you and cheer you on for you doing you, but I'm going to align with what feels right for me. And I hope you can hold space for me to do that. That is something that this embodiment is really asking us to do. So it's expressing your soul and yourself, because that is really important, but also allowing other people to do it, because it's one thing to be on our own path, but we have to remember our own path is our own path. It is just our path. It is not someone else's path. They can join you and you may have very similar paths, but other people have to walk their own paths for their own reasons also. And that is equally as important. So that's something to consider. Sometimes we focus so much on our own path that we think everybody should do it the way we've been doing it because we know better, but it's not about that. It's about allowing the space for everyone to be what they need to be. And so then this last piece they wanted me to talk about was this idea of hope and faith. And they compared it to this beautiful kind of starry night. It's quite lovely, this beautiful starry night. And when you stare up at the stars like that, when you just have that moment where nothing else is going on and you're staring up at the stars and you can just kind of get lost in this awe and wonder feeling about feeling like you really are connected to something much bigger in the universe, something more is going on, that's just beautiful awe and wonder. That's a feeling of faith and hope, of something greater that can't be explained. And it's kind of like the beaming and glistening light from the stars can remind you that there really is hope for the future. And if we could pair any other word with the word for 2022 being embodiment, would be hope. And that comes from within. If you keep that fire of hope lit within you, you can embody so much more, which then really dictates the way you experience and see 2022. So much is going to come from within you. So much. And that's where we really get to shift things and create these beautiful experiences now, because we are being true to who we are and aligning with what aligns. And that ripples out more energy, which then brings more of that energy back at you. Like, again, we are these beautiful creators that are constantly creating this energy that we put out, which then feeds what comes in. And so when we do that with this awe and wonder for the universe, this co-creation where we walk one step, they pair another step with us, we get to create beauty and bounty in the embodiment. So I'm very excited to share this energy update with you guys. It's an energy update for this month, but also really they're saying it's like the template for the whole year. So how cool is that? Hey, so again, the idea is rise above, see stuff from the higher perspective so you don't get caught in it. See it. You might just understand more why certain things are happening the way they are, and then you can hold space for it to play out however it needs to, while listening to, second thing is your inner guidance. Remember, listening to what aligns for you, followed by the third point is freedom of soul expression. Be willing to express what that alignment is for you when it fits. Express it and honor it for self just as much as you will honor somebody else expressing theirs too. And then hold that all in the beautiful energy of hope. And if you can't remember what that feels like, stare up at the beautiful night sky on a clear night and just get lost in it. That's energy from the universe radiating out to you, landing in your eyeballs. And that energy is being received by your body and your soul. And you can choose to use that as your motivator, as something to keep your energy up and shift and move forward, because we are moving forward, you guys. 2022, we are moving forward. This is going to be an exciting year. We're still going to see more stuff happening, more stuff revealed, shifting, changing, but we've had a lot of crumbling. And just this morning, Spirit was showing me these scales of balance and how for the last 2 years, we've been going down. It's been really imbalanced. But 2022, we are bringing that balance back up. Now, the speed at which that balance comes back up, I'm not sure. But the more of us that step into higher frequencies, higher vibrations, the more that balance can come up with at a faster rate. So that's a good thing if you ask me. So I'll leave that with you guys for now. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2022. I sure love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me on the show. If you're looking for more goodness like this, do check out the Avalon Spirit YouTube page. On there, we do Spirit Coffee Talk, myself, Lisa Richmond, and Elise Cathray. We talk about the energies that are going on. So if you're wanting some more, that one is a great one. Happens every Friday. If you're watching this one on YouTube here on my page, please do subscribe and share if you haven't already. And for everything else, you guys, check out avalonspirit.com. It's a beautiful avenue for you to explore your consciousness through the various journey guides that we have, whether it be past life regressions to Akashic record readings, shamanic healings if you need some healing for self, intuitive readings. Oh my gosh, astrology. There's just so much goodness on there. Check it out, as well as course offerings, you name it. It's a fun site. So I will be back again next week, everyone. I wish you a beautiful, wonderful week.